Good morning, everyone. Happy Monday. We are live back for another week in review. And I wish I could say this is my first time trying this. This is my third time. So, third time's a charm. We're here. It's going to be great. Got my coffee. The weather outside is terrible, but it's fine. Now, today's episode is all about weakness. It is titled Chase Your Weakness. And for me, as evidenced by the past 30 minutes, my weakness is podcasting. Now, if I didn't want to confront my weakness, I could have made up an excuse to not do this, but here I am on live stream talking to you guys. So let's get into it. So, weakness is something that we often avoid because it makes us feel vulnerable, makes us feel uncomfortable or inadequate. And facing weaknesses can really challenge our self-image. And a lot of times it's going to trigger us to feel all these feelings of failure, of judgment. And it's just easier to ignore all of those things than every day wake up and say, how can I get better today? How can I face these feelings that are usually negative and turn it into something positive? So the first step to doing that is really understanding what weakness even is. So weakness, by definition, is just going to be a lack of strength. And that could be something that you take very literal. We're at Oxfit, it's a gym. So sometimes weakness can just be actually not being strong, having trouble lifting heavy weights, moving heavy weights. But weakness can also be a lack of a certain skill. It can be a lack of competency, whether that's emotionally, mentally, physically, whatever it is. And we have to figure out how to identify what those things are for us. And a lot of that comes back to honest self-assessment, feedback from your coaches, from mentors, from friends, and then just tracking your performance, tracking your habits. And the good news is that in Oxfit, in this health and fitness setting, we do so much of that for you guys. So if you're coming into, chasing your weaknesses, training your weaknesses, if it's a performance weakness, we have the data. And so probably one of the hardest steps is already done, the tracking, right? Because if you're not good at something, the idea of recording it, reflecting on it, having to try it every week, every month, every year is not something that people are going to make themselves do. But here in the gym, we kind of lay that out for you guys, and we don't really give you a choice. So one of the hardest things is already done for you. And if you aren't around people that are giving you feedback the way that your coaches give you feedback, then you need to seek that out from your mentor, from your boss, from your friends, whatever it is you're working on, and just be able to take that in and just use it as data and use it to decide what your next step is. You don't have to be emotional about it. And I think that's one of the key takeaways for what we're going to talk about today, is how to not be emotional about your weaknesses or getting better at things. You're just looking at it. These are the facts. This is what I need to do or I should do if I want to get better. And did I do them or did I not do them? And so that's just going to be the journey that you're on to train these weaknesses. But why does it even matter? Like, why do we even worry about these things? Things are going fine as they are. I'm an adult. I'm busy. I've got my life, my work, my kids. Why is it important that you seek out these areas of your life to improve? And I think the biggest reason why is that weaknesses often limit our progress way more than our strengths expand it. So in other words, just because you're really, really good at these things, hammering down on those and putting those things on a pedestal or isolating those things aren't going to help you more than trying to improve the areas of your life that need it. Weaknesses are limiting our progress more than our strengths are expanding it. And also, if we keep focusing on the same things that we're good at, taking the easy road, it's going to lead to injury if you're here in the gym and you're only doing the things you love. So if you're hammering away at those cardio workouts and you're running and you're biking and you're burpeeing and doing all the things that you're really good at and that get you on top of the leaderboard, it's going to lead to injury. It's going to lead to burnout, and it's going to lead to a plateau. So that's why we really encourage everyone to be consistent in the gym. Come every day, even when it's not your favorite movement, your favorite lift, your favorite skill, just because it's going to create a much more well-rounded athlete, a well-rounded person, and someone that's capable of taking on these new challenges. So if we get to a point where we accept the fact, okay, I know what my weaknesses are, I've identified them, and I kind of know what to do to get better at them, but how do we actually approach taking positive steps toward chasing our weaknesses, training them, making them better? And I think the best thing to do is just to start small and realistic. So picking 1 to 2 things at a time to change in your life, rather than looking at the entire list of everything identified that is a weakness that you do wrong, that you need to be better at. That's really daunting. So let's pick 1 or 2 things and break those up into manageable tactics throughout the day, throughout the week, that we can do to get better. And a good example of that, if you never cook at home and you know that your nutrition is kind of your downfall when it comes to seeing results, you're always going out to eat, and you say, for the next 2 months, I'm not going to go out to eat at all. I'm going to cook at home every single meal. For some people, that might not be that hard. That's a great goal. But for you, a person that doesn't cook at all, you go out to eat every single meal. Something more realistic would be like, I'm going to only go out to eat twice every week instead of 7 to 10 times or whatever it is you do. So things like that. Think about what is manageable for you, for your lifestyle, for the time that you have and what you're willing to put into it. And being able to succeed in those things are going to make you feel a lot better, a lot more confident, rather than constantly falling short of your goals because you didn't pick something that was realistic for you. And then don't try, like I said, to fix everything at one time. Even if it is just 2, maybe 3 things, maybe you need to focus on just 1 thing for that week. And then next week you can add another weakness or another goal you have on top of it. So don't be too eager out the gate. It needs to be a slow burn and something that you can just stay consistent with and be patient. I think patience is the biggest thing. We expect too much out of ourselves too fast. And if we have those very realistic tactics and things that we're doing every day, those things are going to compound and they're going to build up to actually getting better and not just trying it for a couple weeks and then immediately falling off. And to be able to sustain that, it takes a pretty significant mindset shift. So we really have to get comfortable being a beginner again in a lot of things and just embrace the discomfort that comes with that. So if you're trying to get better at a specific skill in the gym, it's not going to be the easiest thing to try a harder scale or use a heavier weight. There's going to be a period of discomfort, and there's probably going to be a period of time where you have to lean on your coaches more than you have in the past because you're trying to do something different and learn something new. So get excited to be a beginner again, get excited to use the resources that you have, and don't be discouraged when it gets tough or you have to ask for help if you normally don't have to do that. And just some common mistakes that we make and things that we can avoid would be going back to how we were talking about overcompensating with strengths. I think a lot of people tend to ignore a certain weakness and ignore a problem, and then they just go too far in the other direction to overdo it. I think a really good example of this in the gym is when we see people, kind of indifferent to certain workouts, and then not really eager to put their score in Wodify. They're not the athlete that's coming up to me at the end of class wanting to record what they did for their deadlift or their back squat. But if it's a day we're doing gymnastics and they're really good at pull-ups, they're the first one to get their score in. They want a very detailed note of exactly what they did in the workout because they know they're going to be top of the leaderboard. They want people to see that they did chest to bar pull-ups, this many reps. So give the same attention to the things that you're not good at as you do the things that you are. If you're trying to get better at running, not only do you need to be in class every time we're outside running or we're doing interval workouts on the machines, you need to be the first person coming up to the board to say, I did this many calories today. Let's make a note of, my splits. And then next week when we have a workout, I'm going to make sure I look at this and try to beat those times or get a few more calories in. So you need to be putting the same level of care and attention into the things that are harder and uncomfortable than you do to the things that are maybe come easy to you or are comfortable. Now, what does that look like in the gym in specific workouts? And there was a day last week that was really, really fun to coach because I think it had a lot of opportunities for people to get better at different skills. So I'm going to share that with you guys. Let me make sure the right workout is pulled up. Yeah, there we go. This was last Thursday, and I had a lot of fun in class with everyone this day. So we had an interval workout. It was 2 minutes of work, 2 minutes of rest. We had 30 double unders. We had some burpees in there. We had a lot of pull-up variations, and we were doing some heavy lifting. So whether you were trying to get strong, you were trying to improve your endurance, you're trying to get better at double unders, you're trying to get better at gymnastics, I feel like every single person in the gym had a category they fell into for this workout. So it was really fun to coach and watch. And I loved seeing how our athletes really got into the different ways to get better this day. And what I mean by that is I had a lot of people coming up and saying, how long can I spend on the rope? I don't know if 10 double unders isn't quite enough. 30 double unders is too many. My goal is going to be doing 15 every round. Even if I do single, double, however I do it, I'm going to get 15 double unders. And then I had so many people trying different and harder scales for their pull-ups, whether they were getting off the rings for the first time and trying out some jumping pull-ups or taking the time to try to get their kip swing a little bit higher to get that chest to bar and not worrying about their reps. So this was a great workout to chase your weakness, to see what you can get better at and how you could make the workout work for you. So going into this week of training, I want you guys to look at the workouts, try to pick out the days that have opportunities for growth for you, and don't shy away from them, and give them the same amount of care that you give the workout where we're back squatting or bench pressing, whatever is your thing. Don't let it be your thing this week. Let's make something else your thing. Let's make it challenging yourself your thing this week and next week and the weeks to follow. So chasing weakness, that's great. It sounds easy. It's easy to say you need to do X, Y, and Z, and you think about it and you're like, oh yeah, I can do that. But actually executing it is a lot harder than it seems. And we know it's a lot harder because if it was easy, everybody would be improving their weaknesses and we wouldn't have weaknesses anymore. But that is where I think the OXFit coaching program really helps our athletes get work done in a very short period of time that otherwise would probably take someone 12, 18, 24 months to accomplish what we accomplish in just 2 short months, and even shorter for some people. But for 8 weeks, we can work together and outline and identify all of your weaknesses. We can be excited to be beginners together, and we can take on that journey of creating the habits and the tactics each week that are sustainable for you. And then just having that built-in accountability that is a personal coach, in addition to the Oxfit coaching team that you see in class. Having all those resources makes it so much better than just trying to figure it out and do it on your own. And it also forces you to be more honest, I think, with yourself than you would be otherwise if you have somebody in your corner that's checking your work, kind of. Did you actually do this every day? Oh, you only did it 3 days this week, and then last week you did it 2. So this week, let's make sure we do, what we said we were going to do every day. And I think that is just an invaluable experience that people can have, and the transformations and the results that we see after 8 weeks are the same transformations and results that I see from athletes that have been members of the gym for years. It just is condensed to such a short period of time. So if you are a person that knows you have some weaknesses and you don't want to have as many weaknesses, and you think you could benefit from having someone in your corner helping you identify these things, identify your tactics, create some realistic goals, then reach out to me. Email sav@ox.fit. You can reach out to Ant, to Caitlin, to Lauren. We're all here to help you guys be the fittest, happiest, healthiest version of yourselves. So I hope you guys have an amazing week. Hope you have an awesome Monday. If you want some just quick tips, tricks on how to get started working on your weaknesses this week, next week, same thing, shoot me an email, grab me before or after class, and I'd love to help you out. But I will see you guys in the gym, and I will see you back here next week. Let's go.